We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. Coming close to Christmas. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a great one and a great 2022. I know my plans are to have some good stuff. We started this podcast a year and a half, 2 years ago, and it's kind of to bring you in and let you know different people we deal with, and whether it be promotions, fishing, customers, whatever it is. We're trying to bring it to you so you can kind of get a little piece of what our world's like. I want to start off. I got Stephen Suggs here tonight. He's really impressed me with his Dirty South Fishing League. We're going to get into it and have some fun. But first, I had a situation happen today. If everybody looked on Facebook, I put the big deer on Facebook. Went out to South Texas with some buddies and had a great time. So we are going to take care of some of the guys from Texas today. They came into town to go red fishing, and who better to put them on redfish is Captain Brett Norris, one of my buddies and fishing partners, and send them out with Matt. I was too busy to work. We all know Matt doesn't do a whole lot of work. But I get a call saying, man, your guys from Texas were great. But this Matt guy, is he a fisherman, Mike? And I said, yeah, Brett, he's fished with us before. And he said, is that the guy you set the hook for and let him catch the fish? And I said, yeah, that's him. He let the rod and reel go in the water with the fish on it. What's up with that, Matt? That's what I wanted to ask you about tonight. So maybe you can comment. Maybe my buddy, Captain Brett, he was kind of blaming it on you, Captain Brett. So let's get this story right. We're going to roll on. Tales from the Dark Side with Stephen Suggs. Appreciate you coming out today, Stephen.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure, Mike. I can't thank you enough for bringing me on, Bubba.
Give the people out there a little bit of history about yourself. Where you're born, where you grew up, how'd you end up here? Have you been here the whole time? What's the deal?
Well, I mean, I was born and raised in Stephaner, Florida, actually. So
I call that Methner.
Yeah, brother, that's Methner, Florida. But I was actually raised on a farm mostly. I stayed with my pawpaw a lot. So
yeah.
We had pigs, cows,
local
chickens.
Around here?
Right there in Methner, off like Clay or 579.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So right there off like the interstate, they got
Yep.
a large property there in the Fruit Bowl.
Yeah.
If you know anything about the Fruit Bowl, I was a fruit fly.
Oh yeah.
So we know
I
the fruit
gotcha.
flies. So I did the old bread pinching and the slop and all that. We get our worms from the rabbit poop. So we had a lot of fun with that growing up. But and then I just kind of got into sports. I got big into sports. I did baseball, basketball,
High
football,
school or
high school, all the way up. Yep, did all that. But then kind of just got into the work mode. I worked at the casino for 7 years. So did everything there and really enjoyed it. But then I found this passion that my pa used to have, and I actually got involved with the Tampa Bay Fishing Club with Ryan Hine and those guys.
Yeah.
And they were like, and I just started following for a while, and I realized, I was like, man, this looks like a lot of fun.
Right.
I was like, this looks like something fun. Pawpaw loved bass fishing, loved cat fishing back when you kept catfish because the
Sure.
water was cleaner.
Yeah.
I remember coming back to Granny's and she'd have that catfish frying and then biscuits.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you had. So I got into this fishing and I went to one of these meetups they had, and I was like, man, look at the community that these guys have.
Yeah.
I was
And
like, this is really neat.
That's probably one of the biggest things with fishing is the network. If you look at good fishermen, it's the network that they have. It's the people they communicate with and fish with, and those clubs, like you said, really the social media thing. Ryan Hine, with Tampa Bay Fishing Club,
Yep.
it really boomed to where you saw people. It was easy, especially in the last couple of years where you really don't have the fishing clubs and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You go right to the internet and you get all the info you want.
Exactly. So for the fact that they've grown that up to over 70,000 is just incredible, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So we took that, and what I noticed, we split off and we kind of started our own little private club. And there's just a lot, and it's not to get to anyone, there's just a lot of drama and a lot of bickering on these clubs. My
Sure.
fish is bigger than yours.
Well, in any situation, you put 100 people together, much less 10,000, 70,000, or millions, you're going to have the whiners. And you got the people that are kind of like my buddies that are kind of a little bit weirdos. They like to poke and
like
run.
To troll you. They
Poke
just
and run.
Yeah. They ain't got much to say other than just a little
Yeah,
jab at you
that's
and they're
right.
out for a while.
That's-
So me and my buddy Devlin at the time, he ran Salt Devils. He runs Salt Devils. We had an idea. We said, man, tournament fishing's big. But the thing with tournament fishing is it lasts anywhere from 1 to 3 days.
Right.
Okay? You could have a bad 3 days and come dead last, but it doesn't mean you're the worst fisherman.
Yeah.
It just means you had a bad couple days. So we said, man, what if we did a season? What if we did something that we combined fantasy football with fishing? And had it where every single week we had teams that battled head to head. And that's how it all started. So we started almost 3 years ago.
Right.
We're now entering our 8th season. Which is
You started with how many people
20
involved?
guys. We started with 20 anglers.
Okay.
That's all we had.
And what you would do is you would compete against each other, and we'll get into all the rules and that, but you compete against each other, and you're showing this in social media as you catch fish.
That's right.
So you're kind of going back and forth, and people talking trash, and
And it's the best kind of trash talking.
Yeah, I agree.
It's that kind of trash talking where if you played sports, when you walked between the white lines, you didn't like each other. But when
Right.
you walked off the field, buddy, you wanted a beer and wings together. You were
Right.
good friends,
Yeah.
So we had that ability to build this bond that just hadn't really been built through any club before. These clubs are built on just kind of measuring contest, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
with us, it's more of versatility.
Right.
It's how good are you really?
Right.
Yeah, you may be the best snook fisherman around, but if I pull out 6 random species on a Tuesday
to go get
to go and catch
whole different ball game.
for imaginary points that don't even matter,
Yeah.
can you do it?
Yeah.
That shows truly how versatile
So
some
how-
of these guys are.
How long does a season last?
So our seasons last 10 weeks. We do 5 weeks of head-to-head. Then we do an all-stars. So we do all-stars just like any pro sport. So each team gets to pick their 5 best. And then they go out there and they try to catch the biggest of each one of the species we select.
Daily.
1 week. They get 1 week to do it. So you get 1 week. So say like this season it was snook, snapper, black drum, triple tails, like that.
Yeah.
Then those 5 anglers work together to get the largest amount of inches they can
In 1 week.
in 1 week.
So you're not changing it every day.
Nope. That's the ones they go out and chase. So one day
Yeah.
you may catch a 22-inch trout, your teammate catches a 25-inch trout. Well, now you've upgraded. So you're working together to get the biggest fish as possible. Then we do a second 5 weeks, like a second half of the season.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a way to give the guys a break from the grind as well. It's a grind being in this league.
Yeah.
So we give them a break from the grind. Then we get into playoffs. Now, well, I'm going to be honest with you. In playoffs, you better bring your A game because the trash talking has stepped up, all right?
Yeah.
No one wants to lose and be eliminated. During the regular season, what you're doing is you're kind of just going out there and trying to help your team as much as possible.
Right.
If you can score 5 points, great. Good for you.
So as
you
a
know?
team member, they commit, like, just curious, do they commit 1 day a week, 2 day a week, 3 day a week to fish? What is it?
Buddy, I got guys like Jeff Groves, which 99% of Tampa Bay knows.
Bro.
Buddy, Groves is out here 7
And let me
days a
guess,
week.
you're picking 5 triple tail on that 1 week. Because Jeff Groves puts them in the boat.
Buddy, you wouldn't believe it. Jeff Groves will go out and catch ladyfish. Jack Cravall, he'll catch bass.
He loves to fish.
He'll catch
bottom
bass.
line.
It's unbelievable.
So how many days a week is he fishing? Every day,
Honest
isn't
to
he?
God, he in a 7-day week that we have, he fishes probably 5 or 6 days.
That ain't right.
I got the Jack
That
Suarez.
ain't right. Is he
5 or
work
6
a
days.
job?
He owns the air and mufflers off Hillsboro.
Well, he ain't spending no time there if
Hey,
he's
brother,
fishing
I'm
5 days
I'm
a
telling you, he
week.
must be doing big jobs if he can do that.
He does some night fishing, too.
He
I
does, he
see.
does a lot
Yeah.
of night fishing.
Yeah.
But we've got guys like Jack Suarez, Brian Ruby. I mean, I can just name them and like.
And they're all excellent. I mean, I see fish. I see monster snook
Just-
coming in on that.
The Danny Pates, the Derek DeMoores, these guys fish 4 to 7 days a week.
Yeah, wow.
And it's not easy to do because you know what? 2 points ain't enough for them. 5 ain't enough for them. These guys want to get what we call maxing out. Jack Suarez made that popular. He called it lock it up. When you max out, you've locked it up. There's nothing else you can do.
Right.
So what we do is each week, on Sunday, 6 random fish are drawn. All right, so we draw 6 random fish. They can be any 6 fish. All right, your job in that week is to go out and catch those 6 fish. You get points for each fish you submit with the code word.
And the points have to do with the length or weight?
Exactly. So anything under a slot size, so if it's a 12-inch redfish, right, that's worth 2 points. But you get it up to an 18-inch redfish, slot size, 18 to 27, it's worth 5 points. You catch you a big one, 30, 32,
Yep.
it's worth 10 points. So it's kind of like catching a 5-yard pass as opposed to catching a touchdown in fantasy football.
Now, are you looking for one over slot when you call that redfish, or are you putting in multiples?
They can upgrade, but only one can count.
Yeah, okay, let's say you catch a 30, and that gives you 10 points.
You might as well move on to the
You
next.
catch a
of it.
35, you're still only getting 10 points.
Yep, so you might as well move on to one of the other
And that's
6.
one of the max size per week, like you said, locked up.
Yep,
I'm learning it.
It's learning,
I'm
man.
learning it.
Man, it's a lot of fun. We got guys like we mentioned, Glenn Wynn, who's a huge tournament fisherman. He probably fishes 4 or 5 times a week. Michael Ortega and half his family's in the league.
Sure.
You know, that was another big thing to me, was involving the family in the league. So we actually included this thing called the family clause. So if your brother, sister, husband, wife come in, we automatically put them on your team. Why? Because it is really, really cool to me to see your kids fishing with you, to see your dad out there fishing
Sure.
with you, your brother fishing
So automatically
with
their fish count.
you. Yeah, automatically.
Yeah.
They're on your team.
Yeah.
You know, so there's stuff like that. We worked really hard through these seasons to make it where not only is it fun, but boy, is it competitive.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, I may be the one that comes on and represents the league, but it was built by so many of these guys. Like to go from 20 to 120 anglers, that's word of mouth. Okay, you can make all the posts on Facebook you want, doesn't really matter. 80% of our guys are picked up at the dock.
Right.
They'll be out there cleaning fish and talking. You'll see a guy with a whole kill station of fish out there. Hey man, you want to join the league? Looks like you could score some points.
Yeah.
You know, and it's how it
They
happens.
start
man.
asking about, what do you do with like are tarpon in there?
Yes.
Okay, so how would you,
Perfect question. Go ahead. Yep.
as far
yep.
as the slot and all that?
So
would
here's
you-
how we do this. Anything under 24 counts as 2. Okay? 24 to 40, which is legal to take out of the water,
Yep.
we give them 5. If it is clearly over 40, you don't take it out of the water. We follow every regulation.
Which you'd be able to see how big he is.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
can tell when you see a 40-inch
100
tarpon.
pounder, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a 10-pointer. See, ones like that, we follow all regulations, and that's big to us because you know what? That represents the league. It represents who you are as an angler.
Yeah.
We don't want you showing your butt. We don't want you kicking a fish back into the water. So anything that is an FWC regulation is 100% followed by us.
Right.
So
And if
something like the
something's-
tarpon, yeah.
If something wasn't followed, just curious, that no points on that one?
Not
or-
only that, we've suspended guys.
Oh, get them out of it.
But
right
we've
then.
suspended them. We've made them sit out seasons. We basically treat it with rules because if you don't establish rules in a league like this,
Right.
all hell breaks loose, man.
Yep.
It really does.
Well, they find what happens is, and I talk about this, the tournaments I've fished and I've been in, you know, I read the rules, and I'll be honest with you, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I try to look for stuff that they didn't put in.
Loopholes.
Yeah, gray area. You know what I mean?
Those are facts. Loopholes exist.
The easement of the property. I
Thank
wasn't
you.
actually on the property, but that's the way I kind of look at it. And I'll tell you this, I've done some things, and I let it be known that I did them. I was in a tournament in Boca Grande, and it was a snook, trout, and redfish tournament, and there was nothing in the rules about fishing off a seawall or a dock, and there was nothing in the rules about somebody having you bait. So through a friend, I know a guy down in Boca Grande who's got some what they call pet snook. I mean, they're not fenced in. They can swim where they want, but they never leave the dock. And their food of choice is trout carcasses, right? Like a trout that's been filleted.
Yeah.
And I was in this tournament, and I got hooked up and know the right people. And I said, okay, there's going to be I couldn't come in contact with the guy because he wasn't on my team. but there's going to be a bucket with ice in it with fish heads and carcasses sitting in my dock. You pull up there, hook one on and throw it out. Well, there was nothing in the rule about this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was probably the first one within 7 minutes of saying, y'all take off and go fishing, call my fish in, send the picture. I've done caught a 34.5-inch snook. What they did was overslot was points, right? So it didn't matter if it was 34.5 or if it was 60 inches, you got the same amount of points. So I got my big snook, which a lot of times is hard to get. Well, rules changed the next year. No fishing off of docks, no, and of course this guy protects these fish. If I went down there to the dock right now to fish for me, he'd probably come out with a gun and say, "Get away, they're my fish." But so
they added the Mahoney rule.
The Mahoney rule. Don't do the Mahoney rule. So, I used to go into Stump Pass. You ever been in there?
Yeah.
And all them fish.
Yeah.
I found out that nobody can shut that water off, okay? Nobody can put a fence up. Nobody can tell you that they own the water. Here in Florida, you don't own the water. Well, unless it's a marine sanctuary. That's the term they used. Well, it wasn't called a marine sanctuary. They had signs up in Stump Pass Marina that said, no fishing. Okay, I won't fish off your dock. So I slide in there one afternoon. It's on a Sunday. Most of the people are out of there. Hook a big thread fin on. People are feeding snook with shrimp. I throw him the one with hot sauce on it. 40-something inch snook in the middle of the marine. I had people yelling at me, and I clearly told them, you don't own the water. I'm catching this fish. You might as well be quiet.
Take a picture.
Yeah, even Marine Patrol came up. He saw me take the picture and let it go. Asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm fishing. They can't close that waterway off. Of course, he checked everything, make sure I didn't keep any of them, and I didn't. And he let me go. But the next year, it was called a marine sanctuary. And, of course, they let me know that no longer is allowed. So
they added another Mahoney rule.
The Mahoney rule. You got to watch out when you're asking somebody to be in your tournament there. You better go look at the rules and see what's not written.
That is fantastic. We got a guy named John McCarthy who's like my right-hand man. I'm telling you, he writes these rules down where
he's an outlaw.
But
that's what he is. If somebody can write the right rules, they're the guys who've done it before.
And that's funny you say that because I got to tell you this story. Listen to this. So it was like the first time we ever did a draft, right? I go, look, John, I'm going to take you early in the draft. I'm going to draft you like second, right? So he makes a post on the league page. He goes, looks like I'm out for the season, guys. I broke my finger.
Oh, I already like him.
He had an x-ray of a broken finger.
Sure, flim-flam we call that.
So in the last round, he gets picked by a different team. He had posted his daughter's x-ray. He had never broke his finger. He had posted his daughter's broken x-ray, a broken finger
flim-flam. If that's not flim-flam.
It was the wildest thing. He basically faked an injury so he wouldn't end up getting picked by a team he didn't want to be on.
That's great. I like that guy.
Oh,
and that's your rule writer.
And so look,
he's got game.
So trust me, and he runs Veterans for a Cause. So
awesome, man.
So he runs a nonprofit that does nothing but raises funds for veterans and stuff. Just
Good
a great
deal.
guy.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
I mean, just everybody on our staff, they dedicate so much time. And that's the biggest thing, dude, because I promise you this, there's no possible way. I tried for 3 seasons to do it on my own, and it's too much.
Just too tough.
So now my staff's almost 10 guys. That's 10 guys that dedicate their time, that volunteer. They're not paid to add up points, watch fish videos, just do stuff that no normal, sane person would do because they love what we're doing.
Yeah,
we have built this camaraderie in this community that I'm going to tell you second to none. There may be bigger groups, but I can tell you there's not a group of guys that's more loyal to each other
and
than
local.
what we have.
And a bunch of local guys. Are anybody from out of town? Do you have people competing?
The lowest we go, I think, is Pine Island.
Well, that's a good little drive.
Pine Island to I want to say Cedar Key.
That's awesome.
That's what we
and
run.
You can. It's not really limited to anglers, the amount, right? Like you told me you started with 20.
Yep.
And now you're up to
120. What we try to do is we try to eliminate guys that don't try. Okay.
If you're
So,
not going to fish in it, why do
then what's
it?
the point,
Yeah,
man? You know what I mean?
gotcha.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're putting all this time and effort into it. Those spots are coveted. Somebody else is going to want to step in and play. You know
Right.
what I mean? So we're not going to hold a spot for you if you're not even going to go out and give any effort.
And your teammates will be able to vouch for you if that's the case. They're not going to want you slacking if they're the ones catching the fish.
If
you
they're out
know?
there busting their butt and they lose by 5 points and you won't even go out and try,
Yeah.
come on, they're just not going to do it.
Right.
You know, we actually do.
Can
what's
that
known-
happen in the middle of the season?
We do what's
Can-
known as a mid-season cut. So you can add and release. You can release 2 anglers and add 2 anglers.
I got you. And
So yeah.
is there a team captain,
Yes,
so to speak?
every team has a captain and a co-captain.
So when they come to tell you they want to be in it, they have a captain and co-captain and the 2 other people, or do they have to pick between the 100 and something people that are in there? Like
We do a draft.
you bring. Oh, okay.
We do a full January 8th at, just so everybody knows, McKenzie Sports Tavern.
And talk a little
Best
bit about
wings.
them. They've helped you out through this whole.
McKenzie's,
Deal, right?
McKenzie Sports Tavern's been phenomenal. Lisa and them have just everything we've needed. They hosted our last party.
Where are they at?
Right off West Shore. They're right here off West Shore. Makes some of the best wings around.
South Tampa or
Yep,
closer
right,
to Kennedy or
like right off Kennedy. Like kind of take a left out and go down to West Shore, like you're headed towards Manhattan, I think it is.
Yeah.
And it's right there. And I mean, they're phenomenal. It's kind of like one of the hole in the wall joints
Yeah.
that once you go to one time, you're addicted to.
Right.
But they've been there through it all. Like now, this draft party, we were like, where do we host it? They didn't even think twice. You're hosting it here at McKenzie's.
right.
We're gonna have beer giveaways there. We're gonna have raffles, cornhole, and have a lot of fun. And then this isn't just because I'm here at Mahoney, so everybody knows this, but what TA Mahoney's has done for the league has legitimized us as much as anybody else. Because being with you guys and working with you guys is special.
Right.
Because you're known, you're a household name around not just Tampa, but in the fishing community in general.
Well, I appreciate that.
So,
man.
like, just being able to say Mahoney's has our back, and just so everybody knows, Mahoney's a sponsor in my team this season, okay? All right, I want everybody to know that. He didn't pick nobody else. Mahoney's picked my team.
And you know what? Just like I normally do. How many first place finishes? None. How
You went
many?
with the underdog, okay?
I'm usually with that group anyway. You were talking earlier about tournament fishing. I fish that Redfish Cup, and like you said, you can bomb out 3 days in a row, and it has nothing to do with your skill level. Of course, it's pretty humbling when you're seeing other people that were on fish. You decide to go a different way, but this just seems so much different that you can get through those bad days. Or what happens if you have a bad weather week?
Buddy, you fishing. Buddy, let me tell you something.
I've seen them out there
guys
in it,
fishing.
yeah.
Some guys fishing some stuff that makes me nervous. Like, I'm not gonna lie to nobody. I say, yo, they're imaginary points. Y'all can head on back. No. And the quote is, do it for the league. That's why I got a hat on. Do it for the tell you,
got
do
you.
it for the league. Because I promise you, these guys will do things that on a typical day, if they were just fishing for fun, they wouldn't send it. But when you got the chance to beat a rival,
Oh, yeah.
because we got rivalries now.
Especially if you're into trash talking.
Oh,
I
and-
love it, watching it go back and forth.
and
And
you're down 5 or 10 points, and all you need is maybe 1 or 2 fish.
yeah, man.
We don't care if it's 3.5, 4 foot seas with the random 5 or 6 or somebody's going out.
Well, and you know what? The tournaments I fished in and the years I fished in tournaments, and I hate to say this, but I prefer foul weather. And the
I feel
reason,
like the fish do too.
and people, you cut out half your competition instantly when you get bad weather in the bay. People are staying home, and if you can, it's probably why I got back problems now and knees hurt and all that stuff. The crap we've run through, yeah, it's been tough, but it was easier to win. A kingfish tournament that's 8-foot seas, 30-pounder may put you in for. I've seen 26-pounders win some of these tournaments around
Did you
here.
see the weather of these past kingfish?
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
Goes with every
buddy.
one of them. I could tell you some stories about that. I fished on the circuit, and it wasn't
But
pretty.
it wasn't pretty. Now,
Where I learned how to deal with it.
I was gonna say, I don't know if they had a good weather out of the 3 big kingfish
Yeah,
tournaments.
but holy cow, they're wearing 40, 50-foot boats with 5 motors on the back. Of course, they still get small pretty quick.
Shout out to my buddies at the Real Fishing channel. They actually won the Dogfish 25. They're in the
Awesome,
league.
man.
Ryan Nish and Jordan Morgan, they're in the league and everything, and they won the tournament. They won the Dogfish 25.
Yeah, that's
so,
awesome.
So they won that. That's something else, man, is that we don't just have your everyday anglers. Ryan Amatoro, who was on here, is in the league. Chase Krusky, Unreal Charters, is in the league.
Yeah.
We've got C4 Charters. Russell Clemens is in the league. I mean, we got just top.
It's definitely got my attention, over the time, and the sponsorship. I appreciate everything y'all are doing, but it's a network of people, and really, when you think about T.A. Mahoney Company, the reason why we've been here 75 years is because of our customer. The minute you start thinking that you're better or you're good or something like that, you're going to go down. And we've just never, my dad never taught me that. My grandfather wasn't that way. And it's the customer that takes care of us. And the reason why we're here so long is because they keep coming through the door. You treat them fair. You have a good time. Treat people right. It works out. And that's what it seems like. Y'all have a great time on there. I think we got a break coming up. We need to cut it. And we're going to come right back to Dirty South Fishing League, Stephen Suggs. We'll be right back. We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side, Dirty South Fishing League. I like the name of that. Stephen Suggs. How'd you come up with the name?
I won't take full credit for it. We actually did like a little poll. We were gonna do Backwater Cartel. It came out with a lot of weird different names, but my buddy Devlin J actually said, "What about Dirty South Fishing League?"
Man, that sounds good. Just
got a Dirty South. It kind of rolls off your tongue.
Yeah, I like it, man. It's definitely caught my eye on social media. It's a really neat deal. I'm gonna go through start to finish. I listen to this podcast and I want to get involved in Dirty South Fishing League. What do I got to do?
All right. So what you do is you can find our group. Our group is private, so you have to, ask to join. But just search Dirty South Fishing League. That's all you got to do. You have to answer a few questions. One question we ask you is, are you committed to fishing at least 2 days a week? If you can't do it 1 to 2 days a week, then honestly it's not going to work out for you.
Right.
You got to have some commitment level, otherwise you're letting your teammates down. All right, so that's the first thing you got to do. Second thing you got to do is sign up on the free agent post. We have a post that literally says, are you willing to enter the draft? They say yes. They're put onto a long list, just like the NFL has their list, their draft board.
Right.
And we go round by round. So round one, you have a first overall pick, second pick, third pick. Then round 2, round 3, until we have filled up with all the teams.
And that's how you fill all the teams, and that's done at McKenzie's.
That's going to be done
when?
McKenzie's January 8th.
So they can get filled out Dirty South Fishing League on Facebook.
Yep.
Request to be a member.
Yes, sir.
It takes a little bit, and then somebody approves them.
It takes 30 seconds. We got somebody always watching.
And you don't have to have a whole team.
No, just one person.
You can have one guy,
just you sign
and
up.
He's going to get in on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they go to McKenzie's.
Yep.
They're on their team.
Yep.
And it's the week after. What day is the 6th?
The 8th is actually a Saturday.
So Sunday it starts?
So Sunday we draw the first species. What we do is a preseason week. So we do a week where nothing counts really.
But you're still practice like.
Exactly. We want to make sure
you.
people know how to submit the fish, to measure them correctly, release them correctly, to know how to
Use
say
the
code word.
The code word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a practice week.
Right.
Okay, this is your week to mess up. Because starting next week, that fish ain't worth no points.
Right.
You just did all that hard work for nothing.
And there ain't no daddy ball. You
No.
go buy the book. It's either say the name, show everything you need to see,
Or
and
do nothing.
it's done.
Yeah.
And y'all
Like you
have
said,
a committee.
We had to have those rules. We had to watch those Mahoney rules.
Yeah, Mahoney will slide in there and get you on one. You got to kind of watch out on that one. Okay, so now they're ready to roll. You're going to pick 5 fish a week.
6. We pick 6.
6 a week.
So the first fish
with a
we
code
pick,
word.
Yep, first fish we pick every week is the bonus fish. Okay, so that's the fish that's worth the most points.
Right.
All right, that one can actually be worth up to 15 points.
I got you.
Then we draw 5 more fish. Now the fish we draw are all inshore.
And they're all stuff around here.
Everything.
Yep.
From trout, black drum, triple tail, snook, redfish.
Catfish?
No catfish. We do have 3 trash fish though. We put ladyfish on there, rays, and bluegill, just for fun.
So you're doing some freshwater too.
Bass is on there.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that way it makes it. You got to show versatility.
Right.
You know, that was a big thing to us is that we didn't want these guys can go out and chase their inshore species every day of the week if they want to. Okay. It doesn't show how good you really are. It shows that you got honey holes.
Right. You know
And
where
it
certain fish are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What this league does is show that regardless of the weather, the tides, and the time, you're going to get out there and you can catch these fish.
Right.
It shows how versatile you really are.
Right. Well, that sounds good. Y'all definitely look it up there. Let's talk about some of the sponsors that have been with you. Now, how does a what'd you say, kitchen something?
Yeah, so
how's that get into a fishing tournament?
Well, Derek Kidd is actually one of the original guys. He's one of the first 20.
Oh, awesome.
All right. So he owns this company, and it's Tampa Kitchen and Bath. They do remodels for kitchens and bath. He said for that kind of sponsorship, I mean, we weren't asking much. He said, put me in.
And where are they at? Tampa?
They're out of Tampa. They do stuff all around the
Been
Tampa,
with you
Brandon
day
area
one?
since day one.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome. Then we got McKenzie's. We got Mahoney's. Red Lion Rods by Eric Lowney. Honestly, God probably makes some of the best custom rods.
And where are they out of?
He's at South Tampa.
Wow.
Right out of South Tampa. Makes them out of some of the best blanks you can make them out of. I mean, I've got
Is he
one.
fishing the tournament too?
This was his first season off because he got so busy. Now, he started out making maybe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, maybe a rod a week.
Right.
Now he's to the point where he's got a 6-week waiting list.
That's awesome. What's the name of them again?
Red Lion Rods.
All right.
All right, so Red Lion Rods, incredible. Then there's a couple charter captains I really had to give a shout out to because these guys have donated trips that we could raffle off to help fund this league.
Awesome.
So like Brian Lambert with Fishhawk Charters.
Oh man, big boat too.
Love
Catches
the
a
guy.
lot of fish.
Love the guy to death, man.
Good guy.
Chase Krutchke with Unreal Charters.
Yeah.
Russell Clement with C4. He's one of the guys down in Pine Island.
Okay.
All right. Then I got Cedar Key up there. I got Danny Morgan. We got then we got a couple of big time saltwater offshore guys. Amaturo, who was just on here.
Right.
He just started his offshore
Yeah.
boat now.
Yeah, he's working
got that going.
in here all the time buying parts.
High Tide Charters with Derek Morris
I've
and
seen
Danny
that
Pate.
one. Yeah.
Salt Cracker Charters with Kevin Muldoon. So we got
And
all,
those guys are fishing inshore too?
they fish inshore and offshore.
So
They
y'all
do
have
both.
an offshore.
So that's the great thing. Is for every inshore fish we pick has an offshore equivalent.
Awesome.
So that makes anyone can
You're
participate.
covering both.
If-
For that week you're talking
So
about.
if I draw snook, gag's the equivalent. So if you don't want to, if you're an offshore guy, well, I'm not going to catch a snook, but I can catch a gag. You get the same points.
And it's going to be more video, like if something was out of season or something like that. That's all you're doing anyway. Saying the code word, showing the measurement on
And
the
releasing
fish,
the fish.
letting him go.
Yep, and if you're keeping it, throw it in the cooler.
Yeah, man, that sounds like a good time. I hope y'all got as much out of it as I did because I finally got an idea of how this thing works. I've been watching it on social media, the chewing back and forth. That's what kind of drew me there, the jabbing. My weirdo buddies are nonstop with it. So when I see it happening somewhere else, I kind of look into it. But, Steven, I appreciate you coming out and sharing with us today.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. And, guys, man, if you want to sign up, please do so. We love the competition, and the more anglers, the more fun it is, man.
Dirty South Fishing League on Facebook. Steven Suggs, appreciate it, buddy.
I appreciate you, Mike, man. I had a great time with you, brother.
Yep, we'll see you next time.
Y'all have a good one.